Hello, my name is Stephanie Toman, and this is another video-based learning area on the advanced ICDL Advanced Qualification Spreadsheets, and we're using Excel 2016. So this video is going to be looking over a syllabus area, which is going to be looking at particularly the protection. So protection with regard to the syllabus for the advanced spreadsheets is about protection within workbooks, i.e. restricting editing, and also there's an area where you have to protect workbooks from outside. And be aware that the way that a lot of students are using protection from outside is the file info and protection with the encryption. That's absolutely fine, but in the exam we have to use something slightly different by going through the save as path, because we have to be able to access an open and a modify area passwords, which the encryption, the shorter path, doesn't give us. So I hope you enjoy. If not for the qualification, you might be just looking at this just for some information or to update your learning skills on Excel. Thank you.
Protection within a workbook with regard to sheets or cells, and then workbook protection, which is full protection, so you cannot get into a workbook without password. So let's open up protection workbook together. And you can see here that it's got some different areas to think about. So first of all worksheet cells are locked by default. In other words, they're already locked. So in order to lock down particular cells, you would have to unlock them all and then lock only those cells that you don't want editing. The other thing is that you can lock those cells with or without a password. You can lock the whole worksheet with or without a password. So I'm going to take you through using the sheets across the bottom. There is a practice one as well. If you want to use the live one to do that, that's good. And it covers a couple of other areas just on the end about hiding formula, etc. So we click in the protect sheet. Let's come down. It's quite straightforward. If we go into a whole sheet and right click format cells, just to see in the protection, all cells are locked by default. So we're going to close that. But to protect a whole sheet, you just go to the Home tab, into the drop-down format, click on the Protect Sheet. You don't need to use a password, so you can OK. And then if you try to do something, it won't let you. To unprotect, back in, Unprotect Sheet, and now it will. If you're going to use a password, so into Protect Sheet, let's use the password protect. Okay, pop it in again. Okay, and then you can't do it. And if you want to unprotect it and you're not able to because you haven't got the password, then it will protect you from opening it. Simple stuff, really. Okay, moving to the allow cell editing, let's have a look at this way. So using the all cells are locked by default, if these are the cells that only these cells can be edited, as it says in here, allow certain cells to be edited, we would unlock these. The first thing I want to do is check the whole workbook is locked, because sometimes when you were doing other things, it could be unlocked, and it's fine. So let's OK that. Then we're going to highlight the range E6 to E14 and unlock those only. The rest is locked, okay? So when you put the protect sheet down, I put that on without a password this time. We tried to edit those, it won't let us, but we can edit these. So that works, okay? Let's go in and unprotect it again. And make sure all of the cells are locked. If we look at the practice one, which you can have a go at, this is quite typical of the exam. So in this case, it wants these ones protected and the rest of it is okay. So it's like the opposite really of what we've done here. So what we're going to do is we're going to unprotect the whole sheet, unlock. It's already unprotected, so it's no longer locked. and then we're going to lock these ones down only. Then when you protect the sheet with or without a password, you can edit those, but you can't edit those. So be really aware of this one for the exam. If we just take the protect sheet off again, and I make sure everything's locked, I'll show you a really quick way of doing this exercise just using the feature here. These two features, lock cell and protect sheet. So to begin with, we check everything's locked, which we know it is, but I'll just do it as a process. Then we're going to unlock the whole sheet. Click on these, and you can lock them this way as well. So the way that we've used the format cells is because it's very visual. Whereas when you use this way, it just uses it as a toggle. So it's a lock when you want to lock, unlock when you don't want to lock. So if we do that, they will now be they'll be locked. Protect the sheet, okay, and we've still got the same thing. So this is all unlocked and they have been locked. Okay, so you could do it literally like this. Let's make sure it's all unlocked. Make sure, because we can see visually that it's all locked. So what you would do is you would highlight the sheet, unlock, highlight the range, lock, protect, sheet. Job done. Okay, so whichever way you want to do it, it's absolutely fine in the exam, and you can do them if you like to see it in the exam. I totally get that. Finally, just a couple of things. I know it might sound a bit patronising to some of you to actually show you how to hide and unhide, but be aware that you can hide, and if you see your hidden rows there, they may ask you to do this, unhide or hide. You can do it either way. You can double click. If you had those and those, oops, use the control, so those and those, you could hide together. And you can also highlight the cells around those that are hidden, control again, highlight cells around them that are hidden, and unhide that way. So there's quicker ways of doing it. And it's all down here. It's quite, there's your control for non-random. The final bit of this one, I just want to go over and just bring this down, is you can hide formula. What it actually does is probably hide everything in the back of the sheet. But you know, remember, if you've not used it before with me, we've got the control key and the key above the tab key on the left-hand side of your keyboard. If you hold the control key with your thumb and tap what they call the grave accent, you can tap between values, showing values and showing formula. This is the same feature that's in the formula tab, and it's here called show formula. So it's exactly the same. However, for the exam, you do need to know that control key and the one above the tab. If you tap, it's got three symbols on it. We're using the little grave accent, one of them, and that will tab back and forth. So we know that there is formula in the back of these cells. We want to hide it. So if we highlight those cells, and where we went before, right click, format cells, there's a little hidden box. And below it, if you read, it says locking cells or hiding formula has no effect until you protect the worksheet. And it gives you the protect worksheets on the review tab. It's also on the home tab, as we found out. So you're highlighting, right clicking, making sure that that's hidden while we're highlighting it. And then what you do is you go back to your home tab or your review, it doesn't really matter, and you protect the worksheet, not the workbook. And without putting the passwords in, You can see now that you can't see the formula, but it is protected. Okay, so that's the hide formula. So we're going to finish on that. I'm not going to save because we're going to use workbook, and we're going to quickly just look at the workbook protection. So we've looked at inside of workbook, now we're going to look at the whole workbook. So you can password protect a workbook. There's two areas. There's a password to open and a password to modify, and you can use both. So let's have a look at how we're going to do this. So if we go to the file area, there is this encryption area here, and lots of people tend to use this in the day-to-day things, but in the exam we do not want to go this way because it only gives us one option of opening. We need the option to open and modify. So we need to go to the Save As. Use the browse to bring up your dialog box. And that way, with the dialog box there, you will see this feature called Tools, right alongside your Save button. And the general options will bring up your password protection for the entire workbook. So you've got a password to open. Let's put in a password open. Okay, pop it in again, and okay, and then save it through. It will override the existing because it's different now. Okay, so it replaces it. If we close it now and we go to open it again, of course it's going to ask us for a password open. Okay. In the exam, however, if we go back into that area, Save As, Browse, Tools, General Options, we may be asked to remove an existing password. Let's say we've been asked to remove the open password. And we need a password to modify. Let's use modify just for simplicity. And OK, pop modify in again. OK, save, yes. And then if we close it, we would have to do the modify password. Notice there that modifying. Oops, getting confused about which one's which now. Let's do them both. So we've got Save As, Browse, just a little exercise, just so we get used to doing them. We've already got the modify in, let's put the open in there. Okay, open again. Okay, save, yes. Close, oops, taking a minute. Pop it open, and let's see what we have to do in order to open it. So we've got password protected, so we need the open. And then it's the password for the read, write access, or open read only, so the modify. And then it lets us in. And if we wanted to go back in and remove them all, we could go back in once again, take them out, save it again, yes. And now if we open it, it just opens. Be really careful in the working world that you don't password protect lots of things and upset your colleagues or your boss when you can't remember it. Always use a meaningful name as well, not the name of your dog or your date of birth or something like that. Something meaningful to maybe someone else if there is a time when it can't be opened.